Did you know that as a first generation entrepreneur, you are going to face a lot of challenges that a lot of people don't talk about? So today, as a Mexican American first generation entrepreneur, I'm going to reveal to you the 3 biggest challenges I faced and how I overcame them to be able to build a 7-figure company and break generational curses within my family. But before we dive in, do not forget, hit that subscribe button. And if you're a first generation entrepreneur like myself and want to learn how you can make 10K per month from home with an online business, I highly recommend you click the link in the description and join our group, Bilingual Ballers, where I personally walk you through the exact systems that I have used to build my companies today. Now, let's get started. The first and toughest challenge, without a doubt, was going to be the mindset shift of worker to actual business owner / investor. You see, when you come from a first generation household, you have to understand something. Your parents probably came here with nothing. They probably came from a third world country where there was no opportunity. Hence why they're here, right? They came here looking for a better life. Unfortunately though, the biggest issue with poverty is not always necessarily the lack of opportunity. It's more so the lack of mindset and the fact that we are raised with these ideas and mentalities that limit us from being able to reach our full potential and break generational curses. You see, we're often raised with the idea that because we come from nothing, that's probably where we're gonna end up, right? There's zero way that we're gonna make money starting a business, and there's zero way we're gonna be able to get a really good job. The only way to get rich is gonna be winning the lottery. But luckily, when I was 16 years old, I came across a book. Many of you have maybe heard of it, and if you haven't, you better read it, but it's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And what I can say this book taught me from a young age, that there is a clear difference between the mentality of a worker and the mentality of an investor or a business owner. And this mindset is the most important aspect of wealth creation. And immigrants are some of the hardest working people in the world, but yet their incomes don't reflect it. And it's because there's one thing missing, and that's mindset. So I put this as number 1. If you have the right mindset, there's literally nothing that you cannot achieve. So the biggest battle you're gonna have in your journey is getting rid of all of those negative beliefs, values that you may have been instilled when you were young. These beliefs in your head are what's gonna tell you, oh no, you can't do it, or oh no, this is too hard, or oh no, I wasn't meant for this. Those beliefs aren't real. Those beliefs aren't yours. Those beliefs were instilled upon you, and that is all you know. So you have to get out there, read these books, find the knowledge, and find the mentors who are going to instill a rich man or woman's mentality in your head. Secondly, point number 2, let's talk about money and financial education. So in my journey, I had to literally teach myself everything about money, and even to this day, it's something that I'm still working on. Because as hardworking as my parents were, and I'm sure a lot of yours are as well, money is not something that they really passed down to us. Knowing how to create and preserve wealth is probably not something that you or I were passed down. See, there were a lot of big questions I had to find the answers to in the journey, right? How does money work? How do you manage money? And most importantly, how do you create money? These are things that we're not really taught. And again, this is not our parents' fault. What are they supposed to know about finances when they come from a third world country and probably had to start working from a very, very young age? I mean, my parents worked super hard and I never had anything to complain about. You know, we did have a lot of financial difficulties at times. You know, when I was like 9 years old, my parents went bankrupt. I remember it was a Christmas where it was really hard to be able to get gifts. You know, my brother and I, for example, would have to share Happy Meals. You know, just those little things, right? We didn't suffer, but at the same time, you know, we were nowhere near where a lot of the people I went to school with were. But aside from the personal finance stuff, let's not even get started about the business side of things. Because the thing about business and entrepreneurship is that if you don't know how finances or accounting works, it's gonna be very, very hard for you to be able to actually build a business, right? Because they cannot sustain a business if you are not profitable. So learning accounting, financial modeling, raising capital, these were all very, very crucial things that I had to learn myself. And there are tons of books out there But the number one thing I can tell you is that money, and specifically credit, is a double-edged sword. Those who know how to leverage it and use it to be able to crazy amounts of wealth. But those who don't end up in debt, in some tough financial situations, or ultimately bankrupt, kind of like how my parents did. So this was easily one of the hardest things to overcome. My last point, and one of the biggest challenges I faced, was lack of connections. You see, in a world where who you know makes a huge difference, many of us, like you and I, start at a pretty big disadvantage. You see, growing up, I went to a white school, so it was very interesting. We would talk about what our parents did. You know, my dad worked in construction and my mom worked at Target. But a lot of my friends, their parents were like accountants, like football coaches, business executives, doctors, lawyers, and all these crazy jobs that I thought were insane, because all of my family worked normal jobs like my parents. And so this leads me to the last point. Who you know is everything, because growing up, you are going to become what you see, right? You know how they say, if your dad, for example, is an alcoholic, you're probably going to become that, because you simply become your environment. Whether you like it or not, you're probably going to become like your parents or those people that you look up to when you're young. So one of the biggest challenges was being able to get myself in the rooms with the right people. I had to find a way to get these mentors to believe in me and take their time out of their day and their ventures and responsibilities so they could teach me the fundamentals. Because I'm telling you, you can read all of the textbooks, you can watch all of these courses, but if you don't have a mentor who can actually guide you, it's going to be very, very hard to succeed in business. On top of that, connections are super important. You see, a lot of other kids grow up because their dad was the CEO of this company, so he was able to secure their son, this really good board seat. Or I remember kids who I went to school with whose dad was able to get their kids into the college that they wanted simply because of who they knew or where they came from. I want to make this super clear. None of this is me complaining, because I want you to look at life like a game of poker, right? We're all dealt different cards, and the cards that we have are the cards that we're going to have for the rest of our life. You can't trade them, and you're certainly not going to fold. So the only other option you have is to play the cards that you have to your best advantage. And in order to do that, you need to first start by shifting your mindset. Believe in your potential and become obsessed with educating and bettering yourself. You're not alone in this. You're not the only one trying to break these generational curses. You're not the only one who seems crazy to your friends and family for believing that you are worthy of more. I'm living testament that you can overcome these challenges. If I can do it, so can you. Building a successful business isn't just a dream. It's an achievable goal as long as you have the proper network, knowledge, and guidance. Remember, our past doesn't define our future. We are all capable of building a legacy that honors our family and our heritage. If this message resonates with you and you're ready to take your entrepreneurial journey to the next level, I invite you, hit us with a subscribe, and join our community, Bilingual Ballers. Let's build success together, and remember, this is for those who come from nothing. Later, guys.